Hey guys, so I'm back today sharing our morning baskets. So this will be August's morning basket, but this changes month to month. So I'll be back next month with September's morning basket. There are so many morning basket resources online. So these are just some of the things that we prefer to use during our morning basket time. And if you're not familiar with that, we sit down at our school table for about an hour to an hour and a half each morning and do a variation of things. So we don't do every single one of these things each morning. We just pull from the basket. There's no system to it. I don't do a loop with our basket. So we just kind of pick and choose what we're up for that day. So we didn't do the greatest job in the world at keeping up with our read aloud this summer. So the first thing in here is On the Banks of Plum Creek. We're starting back at the beginning of that book. Also, we have our Simply Charlotte Mason scripture memory cards. Again, this isn't something that we do every single morning, but I try to stay consistent. So I don't follow her system exactly, but we are going in order of the memory cards. This Fun with Math game is a really cool resource I found at the homeschooling convention. This is like flashcards, but it can be used for number recognition, addition, subtraction, or multiplication. So we're using this for all of the kids, kind of to break up our morning basket. I also have my journal in here, which every so often I jot down some thoughts and prayers during our homeschool time, things I don't want to forget. I'm keeping record this year just for my own self. We also have our devotional in here. Now, our devotional is something that we use as a family in the evening, but if for some reason, for example, it's basketball season, summer basketball, and we're getting off schedule with our family dinners, so if we missed one the night before, I'll read it with the kids the next morning. I also keep Story of the World in our morning basket. We do our history and the coloring pages as part of our morning time together. It's a family subject. And then this morning, exercises for all the year, the daybook for teachers. If you guys remember last year, I really loved this book. There technically is no morning exercises for the month of August, but since we did not do school in June, we're just using June's. I also like to keep the activity books or coloring books, things like that, in our morning basket for the kids to do, to kind of break up, kind of like those cards that I showed you a little bit ago, just a little something to break up what they're doing, so I'm not just reading constantly and they're just taking in tons of information. So this keeps them at the table but gives them a little bit of a break mentally. I also keep their independent work folders in here, which I think I'm going to do a day in the life next week, so I'll kind of elaborate on these next week. Our hymn study, I'll link up here in the corner. I just changed out some of the hymns for the school year. This is something that we do every single morning. So the hymn study is a very important part of our homeschool morning in our family. And then as far as virtues, habits, character building, we're going back and forth between using this at the moment, this Walk in Love study. I'll put a link below to where we got this. It goes through all of 1 Corinthians 13. Or using the Simply Charlotte Mason Laying Down the Rails, where you have Laying Down the Rails for Children and the Laying Down the Rails handbook. So again, this is something that I'll share with you guys as we get used to it. Laying Down the Rails is a new curriculum purchase for us. So far, so good. This year, we've started using a book of centuries. So this I just printed, I think it was from Half Hundred Acre Wood, I'm not sure. But I printed this a couple of years ago, but it never really felt right to be using it. But now my kids are pulling things from all different time periods. So we're going to start keeping a written book of centuries. I also have the 5 in a row title, or the book, but we're using it as a 5 in a row title, 3 Names. We're going through each 4-week section of school. We're going to be going through one 5 in a row title. So that's what we have going on right now. They also have their clipboards in here, and these clipboards hold everything that we're using, everything that they need for family subjects. So their history coloring pages, their Bible study pages, and their maps for map drill. That's all here. That's something that we do as a group. Versus those folders that I showed you were for their individual lessons. So again, I'll give you a little bit more information about that sometime next week. I stuck this in here. We're going to give it a whirl in the month of August and see how it goes for us. I know that we won't get through it in a complete year, but I thought we could go every couple of weeks and study a different president. So that Fun with the President's book is in there just to use as a group. And then I have this Here and There book, which is kind of a geography resource. We're doing U.S. geography, just North American geography actually this year. But I kind of wanted to keep an awareness of the world and cultures as a whole. So we have this Here and There book for the kids to peek through during the morning as well. But for the main geography lesson this year, we are doing the study of the states in North America. So for that right now, we're going through this 50 states book. The kids are picking a state and we're using it for information and also for our map drills. The last thing I have in here is the book Botanicum. Now, this is something that I just want to make you aware, if you're buying it to read through the text, does contain reference to evolution, but we're just using it right now as another way to break up our morning basket. The kids are watercoloring or using colored pencil and going over the images. I just think that they're really beautiful images, so this is just something for them to kind of get their hands busy and do some painting. It's super therapeutic and I enjoy it as well. So that's everything that's in our morning basket. So I'm going to move on to our bookshelf. So if you watched my homeschool storage video, then you know that I do have a system that I prefer to keep organized as far as our book storage. Because of that, I have this bookshelf out in the homeschool room, and this is the bookshelf that the kids can pull from consistently, as well as a couple of cubbies on that bookshelf that in the school storage room that they can pull from. But as far as things like historical fiction books or certain nonfiction books and things along those lines, I don't want them pulling off of those shelves and getting things out of order, because then I won't know where they are when it comes time for a unit study. So because of that, I have this shelf in the homeschool area, and it is labeled, the top shelf is for my 4th grader, the middle shelves are for my 2nd grader and my preschooler, and the bottom shelf is for the baby. So I'm going to show you everything that I put out there. This changes once a week. So I do have some math books for each of them. These math books are in addition to the math curriculum that they're already using. These are just for them to pull off the shelf if I ever say, go work on some math, say they finish one of their subjects or coloring pages before their brother or sister finishes. This gives them some time to kind of work on some math skills while we're still all in the same room. So my daughter has the times tables activity book. She's really still struggling through her times tables a little bit, so this is just to get some extra practice. My son has the Lift the Flap telling the time. He's in 2nd grade and he is really working on clocks and things like that. So he has this Lift the Flap telling the time and he loves that. And then my preschooler has this Lift the Flap sizes and measuring. He loves this one, as well as the Lift the Flap first math book. So right now I have the sizes and measuring out for him. And then, like I said in our morning basket video, we are using the book 3 Names and kind of going through here and there and doing a little bit of a unit study around that book. And so I do have some books here for them that go along with that. I don't make them read these, but these are just if they're looking for a book to grab. It happens to go along with our unit study. So my daughter has the Dear America, Across the Wide and Lonesome Prairie, and a couple of the Kirsten books. My son has the If You Were a Pioneer on the Prairie, and also the Magic Treehouse Twister on Tuesday. And then my preschooler, we have read the Little House books for a while here, so he just has this A Little House book, and this is just for him to peek through the illustrations. And then the last thing on each of their individual shelves are just the books that they're reading right now this week in their quiet time. So my daughter is going through the last of the Luciana books, the American Girl book. My son loves this Extreme Planet book. So this is the one that he's been grabbing anytime he has the chance to go read on his own. And then my preschooler happens to love this Above and Below book right now. He's not able to read the words yet, but he does love how interactive the book is as far as these split pages and revealing what's underneath and what's above. So those are the books that they each have on their shelves. But like I said, they have certain cubbies that they can pull books from. My other son loves Berenstain Bears books, so he's got the whole collection out there. Then the bottom shelf on this schoolroom bookshelf are books for the baby. These are books that my kids can read with her, so they love the Press Here and Mix It Up books. I know you're probably sick of hearing about those. I've talked about them for so long. These are just like little phonics readers or books that, say, my preschooler can actually read, quote unquote, read to her, like the ABC book, the basketball book, the Mix It Up book, things like that. So anytime that, well, she also does love grabbing books and sitting in your lap, but those are just options for anybody to read with her or for us to read to her or just for her to grab when she's looking for a book. So that is our morning basket this month, and this is our bookshelf this week. Just some of the books that we're loving and kind of a peek inside what we're doing right now in the mornings in our homeschool. Let me know in the comments below which books are your favorite right now, what you guys are really using in the month of August, and what you have to have in your morning basket. I will see you guys soon. Bye.